Now we are going to turn to Debbie Sears Barnard, who's going to share some thoughts coming from a healthcare perspective.
Hello, thanks for the opportunity to be here. I'm Debbie Sears Barnard, and you'll notice that I think off to the side, you can see it's nighttime where I am. I am currently in Dubai. I work for Joint Commission International, but this conversation and my participation in the blog series was not related to my current job. Deondra tapped me on the shoulder, and initially I hesitated because I'm not one to be on the front line. I'm not a protester. I'm not a marcher. And as I listened to her talk about why this work was so important, I realized that I needed to add my voice, my personal contribution to this discussion. I started healthcare as a young nurse in my early 20s, and for 30 plus years, I've been involved in healthcare. Healthcare is all I know. I've had the opportunity to live in 5 different countries, so I've seen healthcare at various levels as a frontline nurse, as in roles at the executive level. And in Canada, I had the opportunity to work for the Canadian patient safety industry. And when I first started to do research and collate my thoughts for the blog, I realized that um, this point in our conversation is really connected to a lot of the data that we've already uncovered related to safety. That basically, unfortunately, when patients come to us in healthcare, they're often harmed by care. That's been the focus of my work for more than 15 years. And I can tell you, I was totally impacted because I realized in my past role, when I was looking at how answering the question, how safe is healthcare, that the organizations where I previously worked and the work that I led, very seldom did we pull the data and look and see, is harm equal? And so, as I was doing the research, and we had a part of our Women in Lean group who did some additional research, I provided those references in the blog. So, those of you who are interested, I really encourage you to go and look, because the data is very clear that persons of color are harmed by care. So I realized that my passion for making sure that our patients are safe, that I personally, out of this conversation, have realized that my work needs to add to it a new dynamic. So the 2 things, the call to action, and if you notice, I've given you my personal viewpoint, my personal feelings, because I feel that for those of you that are participating, when you look at the data, as someone who gave feedback after the blog, she said, "Oh my God, I didn't know this data." So I would encourage every single person, because if you have not interfaced with the healthcare system yet, somewhere along your life journey, you will have to. So I recommended you look at the data, look at the current state, and there are 2 things that we can do. Those of us that are sit in leadership roles, we can first do this a lovely free assessment tool that's available, that organizations can actually look and do an assessment so that they can understand what is the current state. And then on an individual basis, for those of us that are healthcare professionals, there's a test called the Implicit bias test. It can be used in healthcare, it can be used in any of the industries, but healthcare is my baby, so I'm asking our healthcare practitioners to take it, Because even as we're interfacing with patients, we realize that those things that we're not even aware of may be dictating how we interface with the people that we care for. So those are my two things. On an organizational level, do an assessment, know where you're at. And as all of my colleagues have said, once you know, do one small thing, start with action. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.